Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efene. Great Malabite. Good morning.
Good morning, Ruben. Good morning, Rufai.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, Victoria. Tundu MK Abiola. Ruben, you waiting for that? You got it? Yes.
No, I'm sure there are some of our viewers too who joined the chorus. Because that has become your signature.
Yes,
team.
all decked up in pink, ready.
No.
What? This is not pink?
You're wearing pink.
No, I'm wearing lilac. Lilac.
Oh, let me see.
This is lilac.
Oh, it is lilac.
Yes.
Sorry.
I beat you to that today, Tundu.
Yes, lilac. But your tie has lilac and pink.
Yes.
This is peach. It's
Okay.
orangey. It's not pink.
Peach.
Okay,
Efene, you have not appreciated the new hairstyle. You didn't notice.
Ruben, why are you
I've had a little
interjecting
amendments
me?
to my hair.
No, madam, to sanction you.
Yeah, you look already for a board meeting.
Thank you. No, she understands. She's the real Victoria. I'm
Okay. The office
Yes,
Victoria.
the white Victoria. The main Victoria is at home.
I hope she's listening. Now, let's start the review with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. The lead story, Anambra poll. Yakubu sounds the alarm, says security never been this urgent. Worries over safety of staff, voters, security personnel, alleged situation in state and environs has deteriorated badly. Declares electoral facilities materials may be target of attack. Once 26,000 more staff deployed, 6,000 locations protected. NSA blames security breaches on separatist agitators. IG orders immediate replacement of police commissioner. Yes, the situation in Anambra ahead of the governorship polls is dire. But that is why we have the security agents. They must be able, they should be able to provide security, because when you know the level of threats you are faced with, then you prepare. When you prepare, you take care of the situation. After all, we once held elections in the thick of the Boko Haram insurgency, and results came out of the forest everywhere, and they were part of the result that was declared. So we expect, now that we have identified the level of threat, we should please ensure that we also have high level of security to contain these threats. Now, just above the lead story, there's the story, pressure mounts on U.S. to designate IPOB terrorist organization. Yes, an article in the Washington Post written by one Ivan Sacha Shehan, who is the executive director of the School of Public and International Affairs at the University of Baltimore, is urging the American government to declare IPOB a terrorist organization, of course, citing instances of killings and violence in the Southeast. But if we look at the Vanguard lead story, could you blame everything on IPOB? The lead story in Vanguard, Southeast killings. There are over 30 separatist groups in the Southeast. Senator Abaribe tells federal government, says, you can crush agitators, not ideology. Abaribe spoke fact. Many churches, groups are now agitating. Ohaneze. Get Abaribe to identify the groups. ACF tells security agencies. But we know that before IPOB, there was MASOB. And MASOB has not gone out of extinction. They are still well and active. The level of the activity, security agencies should be able to determine that. Some agitators no longer interested in Nigeria. Okore, meeting of ethnic nationalities needed, says Afenifere. Abaribe spoke the truth. Middle Belt Forum, Christian Association of Nigeria. Unknown gunmen kill 2, injure others in Enugu. INEC raises alarm over insecurity in Anambra. So, the situation in the southeast. Now, above the masthead of the Vanguard newspaper, the title, Royal Rumble, why I abolished Ologbo chieftaincy title, Oluofori, I remain Ologbo Ayire. Yes, it's getting, well, you say the battle line has been drawn, because before now, it was as if...
Is it true Ologbo is a nickname now?
Hold on. Before now, it was as if the Oluofori was silent on what the status of Ayiri Emami will be. But now he has come out clearly at a meeting with the Ologbo descendants. The Oluofori stated clearly that we have taken time to ponder and have arrived at our final decision. Reading the Olu's position, Chief Brown Mene said, it is the respect of the monarch has for the Ologbo descendants that is why he called you. It is the king that gives chieftaincy titles. It is also the king that withdraws titles. This has been the tradition. The Ologbo family is very dear to the monarch. There is no longer Ologbo title again. The head of the Ologbo title can answer the nickname. It is the pronouncement of the king and the Ishekiri nation. There will be peace, blessings in the land. That's the Oluofori statement being read by Chief Brown Mene. But there was a response immediately from Ayire Mami. I remained the Ologbo. When he was contacted, he said he's still the Ologbo and quote, my response is straight. I don't recognize him as Olu because the process was not followed. We are in court already and I am instituting a fresh suit. He does not know the tradition and culture of Ishekiri. So also many of those with him. So I don't recognize him as the king. And he went further to say there was a justice in Bender State who stated that you cannot remove the Ologbo, you can only behead him, but he is still alive, so he remains the Ologbo. So we've not seen the end of this matter because the matter is also in court and we'll hear from the courts as time goes on. Now, other newspapers quickly. The Daily Independent newspaper, Anambra go by elections under threat. Now, the New Telegraph newspaper has the same story. Anambra poll, INEC convenes emergency security meeting. Now, the Leadership newspaper, Senate bends rules to allow PMB, that's President Muhammadu Buhari, present 2022 budget tomorrow. Yes, President returns MTEF, the Medium-Term Expenditure Framework, to National Assembly for amendment. Raises appropriation from 13.98 trillion to 16.45 trillion. INEC to get additional 100 billion for 2023 election. Naseni, 54 billion naira. Poverty reduction, 510 billion. Police operations, 50 billion naira. Health sectors, health workers, 50 billion. So tomorrow, President Buhari will unfold the budget for the 2022 at the National Assembly. Now, the Guardian newspaper, used vehicle prices soar over freight, clearing charges effects. Nigerian spends 601.51 billion naira on importation of vehicles in first half of the year 2021. Freight rate high because shipping lines, airlines charge for import, export on single trip. Clearing of vehicles in Nigeria extremely expensive, cheap in Ghana, Benin, Togo. So you can now see why people would rather import into Benin, smuggle into Nigeria, or even pay another duty at the borders. Now, the Daily Sun newspaper, PDP chair, leaders zero in on Mark. Babangida, Aliyu, Makarfi in strong contention. Yes, David Mark, steady hand at the Senate when he was the Senate president. Inventor of the doctrine of necessity is now front runner, according to this report, to be the PDP chairman. We'll see how it pans out. Now, the Daily Trust newspaper, corruption leaks, pressure mounts on Buhari to probe Bagudu. Obi orders. CSOs, lawyers demand special panel. Reach out to EFCC, Justice Ministry, Presidency. We are studying reports. Now, the foreign newspapers quickly. The Times of UK, Prime Minister to reveal minimum wage rise in a few weeks. Lowest earner in the UK could receive £9.42 an hour. That will be an increase of about 5.7%. To someone working for 35 hours per week, the increase could be worth an extra £928 a year before tax. Now, the Wall Street Journal, banks challenge Apple Pay over fees for transactions. Yes, when Apple Pay launched, it got the big banks, JP Morgan, Bank of America, to pay fees. But now many of them are regretting because after that launch in 2014, Apple Pay also came out with its own card because at that launch, banks their customers were to use their card to pay through iPhone. But Apple also introduced its own cards, and the banks are complaining about the fees they pay. Ruben Rufai and Tundu.
Just to reiterate again that before you came, we had breaking news that Arise News will fund the availability of that breakthrough drug, Crizanlizumab, after NAFDAC verification to assist persons living with sickle cell anemia in Nigeria. And you, as a director of the company, must be quite excited that the company is involved in corporate social responsibility. Before now, it was COVID-19, the special center in Abuja, and now the company is taking on, provision of support for sickle cell anemia drug, that the NHS England is going to start administering to help people with sickle cell anemia. However, I'd like to draw your attention to a story in some of the papers today, which is that of Honorable Ben Igapa, I think that's the name, a member of the House of Representatives, who raised a motion about a speech delivered by President Muhammadu Buhari on October 1, 61st Independence Anniversary, to the effect that he visited Ghana and he was detained by the Ghanaian authorities at the airport for 4 hours. And what they referred to is that, look, they had heard that the Nigerian government says that some lawmakers are sponsoring terrorists and that they were just doing background checks just to be sure that a Nigerian lawmaker who doubles as a terrorist had not visited their country. And on the basis of that, Honorable Igapa is saying that the federal government, or the president specifically, should name those lawmakers who have been accused of sponsoring terrorism so that, you don't tie everyone with the same brush. And if you go to any neighboring company, you present yourself as a lawmaker from Nigeria.
You are a suspect.
They will say no. In their own sovereign interest, they have to double check because it looks like lawmakers.
Yes, because the president of Nigeria said that there is a sponsor of terrorists in the National Assembly.
Can you imagine? There's so many issues with that speech. This is just one of them.
I don't know whether that was the appropriate place to mention that kind of information, if indeed we have credible information to that effect.
That the National Assembly, on the floor of that same National Assembly at a point, someone stood up and said, half of the people here, have been...
I'm big in myself. He was a former police officer, and he said, half of the people here have arrested them before.
But they were former clients.
But this is a very serious matter.
Yes, it's
for the president of the country
to stand up and say, you have a National Assembly of thieves. It's just as bad. Well, thank you very much, Emmanuel Efene.